hearts out there. Help his friends.
Although
help
actually,
his community.
Ling Ling
Help
has
himself.
Ling Ling
So we're
does
giving
have to
back.
fight Sinji before that, so
That'll be a fantastic match to watch, but right now we're looking at JohnNumbers and we're looking at DarkBlues. This is a goofy matchup we've seen time and time again.
yeah, this one's real goofy. Numbers, you know, at one point he really didn't like Cloud to the point where he had a Corrin to deal with it.
Remember his
But-
Marth first?
I remember.
Ugh.
You remember his Corrin? It would only instant. But anyway, the point is that Numbers took the time to really dedicate, you know, to Wii Fit, and since then he's found, it seems, a really good game plan because he has a pretty solid record on the best clouds here in New York, DarkBlues included.
Oh, he's done. So earlier in the evening, we saw John whiff this pivot up smash. Glad to see he finally lands it. And
This is the first time I've ever seen him land it, honestly. I've seen him go for it dozens and dozens of times, and I can see why, because that ended his stock brutally early.
so DarkBlues got a little bit of work ahead of him if he's going to be trying to take the rug out from under Numbers, but Numbers with a rather convincing lead, and oddly enough, we see Numbers approaching with the lead. That's a rare sight to behold.
Well, so I'm wondering how much ledge camping we're actually going to see from Numbers. Cloud is one of the best characters at, you know, just punishing regrabs in general. Just you don't want to get too comfortable over there, especially when Numbers is at the percent that he is.
Yeah, but even considering that, while Town & City isn't in the pseudo-FD phase that it enters while the platforms transition out, it's very rare to see a projectile-based character even not even sitting by the end of the stage, if not the ledge. So nonetheless, very interesting play from John, but it's working for him as he sits at 97% and having built quite a number of hits onto DarkBlues and keeping the pressure on rather convincingly as he's looking to bring him around. Up tilt almost killed. Can we talk about that?
I mean, I'm not surprised. Are you really?
It didn't actually.
Wow!
Numbers managing to actually force DarkBlues to burn limit as he tries to get that read there. Okay, Numbers trying to outspace the forward air, but not quite able to do it. He's at 128% right now. A love tap from DarkBlues could probably end his stock at this point. But Numbers has another one to fall back on. We're way off stage there. Deep breathing now in effect, which makes, in general, yeah, Numbers with all of this rage. This is actually a pretty scary spot for DarkBlues, but a really great snipe on that limit late.
Yeah, there's your love tab. DarkBlues finally getting himself back on the board, but at 137%, it's looking like a very dire situation. Even with his limit all charged up, he's got momentum right now, but how long is he going to be able to hold this while John is just piloting around the platforms?
Don't forget, earlier today, we saw DarkBlues get up air at 40 to finishing touch. That killed, and he's looking for it. You see him going for these landing up airs. John is definitely aware of this, but even so, it can be, if he's not careful, if at any point he gets hit, that's it. Okay, a great grab to put him off stage. Definitely wants to get rid of that limit. Doesn't even need to. Manages to find that up air, getting game one.
So that was a rather convincing game one from John, and we saw all stages of his type of play. Like, we saw him do a tiny bit of camping, but for the most part, it was pushing tons of aggression onto DarkBlues. Town & City for the run back, though. That's,
I can definitely understand it, because keep in mind, in that position, we saw him, up air to finishing touch would have killed. And this is really the only stage that sort of thing would happen on. So if he does end up being in that really bad situation of being down by that much percent, at the very least, there is that glimmer of hope he can fall back on.
certainly. It seems that DarkBlues is deciding to take a card from JohnNumbers' book, going for a bit more of a passive approach, get his limit charged up, stick to the platforms, and then move on. He gets his up air, but really not much to come else from it. Passive play only works so well against John because, you know, he's gathering as many resources as his opponent can. And in the time that it takes a Cloud to be able to get his full charge of limit, you could see John charge up his deep breathing, he can charge up his sun salutation, and give himself opportune stage positioning to just further those resources.
All right, and Numbers, it seems to be playing at the ledge a lot more. He's got a jump and a fantastic down air. DarkBlues not ready for it. Numbers now in the advantage state. Oh, tries to read that out of shield jump with a sun salutation. Doesn't quite work, and now DarkBlues with the pressure again. Wow, the jab 3 not connecting. Is that jab 3 almost never connects?
Yeah, it's not that great, but jabs 1 and 2 help with asserting stage control, and that was all John needed in order to press his advantage to the point where now he's sitting at a stock lead here in Game 2. Only 73 builds up. Things are looking very similar to Game 1.
Yeah, and Numbers continuing to get damage after damage. Can we talk about Numbers just like taking advantage of just that tiny little stage positioning? As DarkBlues tried to make it back, he was just... Oh.
That was the... He went for the hardest read.
Here's the thing, though. If it would have worked.
If it worked, we would have praised. I'm not going to front. I would have praised.
That's going to be it.
So, once again, DarkBlues back in the running, sitting at 90% now. It's a slightly better situation than we saw at the end of Game 1, but DarkBlues has to really figure things out if he's going to press this onto John, bring himself to a Game 3 situation.
Yeah, but once again, you have to be conscious of just the difference in kill power between these two characters. JohnNumbers, he has the potential to edge guard. You know, his F tilt is pretty strong, especially once he gets Dig Breathing in effect. But as for right now, only a few more hits, and he has to start worrying about things as simple as a limit cross slash.
Sitting at the ledge, though, I don't know if John's really the one worrying right now. Especially if he has to eat that forward air, and that's going to be that. Even John looked a little surprised, like, oh, that's it.
Both of those kills were, like, very anticlimactic kills. You know, it was just sort of like, oh, that killed.
Smash 4.